Yeah, I know, I missed last week. It kind of slipped my mind. It really did. But now, with the NHL having literally 16 games on today, meaning that every single team is going to be in action, we had ourselves an opportunity to slip in there with another episode of Why I Want. This is the series where we go over top prospects in the upcoming NHL draft. And I'll admit, we have been sort of slow in the episodes this year. The draft engagement has mostly been towards the guys at the very top of the list. But there still are some very great conversations we can be having about players that will be drafted somewhere towards the, let's say, the tail end of the top 5, top 8-ish territory. And that's where we're going to be kicking off here today. So, let's head over to the Kelowna Rockets in the WHL and talk about a guy that has been very, very solid this year. He is arguably, if not most definitely, one of, if not the, top playmakers in the entire draft class. And when it comes to the point production, the only reason you're not hearing about this guy more is because there's a guy named Connor Bedard at the top of the draft in the same league that has sort of taken over everything in regards to point totals. Without further ado, let's head over to the Kelowna Rockets and talk about Andrew Cristall. Now, Cristall is a name that you've probably heard a ton in regards to the WHL this season. You know how back in 2019, there was that three-headed monster of WHL talent? You had Peyton Krebs, Kirby Dach, and Dylan Cousins. Well, this season, you could very well debate the trio at the top of the dub is arguably better than those three back in 2019. Of course, you have Connor Bedard, who was there. You also have Zach Benson of the Winnipeg Ice, that in which we did make a Why I Want video about him earlier in the season. He's a very complete player. And you also have Andrew Cristall at the top of that list, too. There are some other names you can throw in there. Brayden, Yager comes to mind, etc., etc., but for right now, the focus is going to be on the Kelowna Rockets prized forward. Andrew Cristall was born on February 4th, 2005. He's 18 years old. He is from Vancouver, BC, so my neck of the woods over here. 5'10", 165 pounds as a left-handed left-wing player, playing for the Burnaby Winter Club back in his youth days. Now, if you take a look at the consolidated rankings, he is ranked, on average, at 7th overall in this year's draft. You've got some outlets like TSN and Bob McKenzie having him as low as number 18. Sportsnet also has Cristall at number 24. However, you've got a whole bunch of outlets that have tied in ranking Cristall at his peak. You've got Daily Faceoff at number 6, The Hockey News also at 6, McKeen's at 6, Dobber Prospects at 6 as well. And so, when you take a look at the range, you're either really high on this guy, like a lot of the external third-party outlets seem to be, or you're very bearish, like some of the guys in the mainstream media. Bob McKenzie, Sportsnet. Craig Button actually has him at 9, so that's a pretty good contrast to see with the Bob Fathers list. But either way, his consolidated ranking, if you average everything out, is number 7, and he is actually ranked 16th overall by NHL's Central Scouting for North American skaters, too, which isn't great. 16th overall on the North American list roughly equates to maybe 25th overall in real time if you add the two lists together, because there's a European list that's done separately. But when it comes to Andrew Cristall and his draft profile, just the numbers in and of itself is a good enough comparison to go off of, because in 54 games played in the WHL, again as a 17, 18-year-old player, the guy had 39 goals and 56 assists for 95 points on the year. He was over an assist a game, and he was just under that 100-point marker. In fact, if you go over to the WHL in general, you'll see that Zach Benson, the guy that we also made a Why I Want video about, he finished 3rd in the WHL in total points. Connor Bedard was 1st, and it was not even really close. He had 143 points. The second-place guy, Chase Wheatcroft, had 107 points. Then you had Logan Stankoven, Dallas Stars guy, 2 Dallas Stars guys actually in the top 4 of the list. And the 5th overall player, Riley Heidt, is actually eligible for the draft this year too. However, he is not as highly touted as some of the other players that we've talked about. Cristall was 6th overall in overall points, outscoring guys like Matthew Savoy, who was a top pick last year. Also, Jagger Firkus was outscored too. A lot of guys here that were outproduced by 4 of these 2023 eligible players, so it's going to be really interesting to see what happens when these guys get selected by the time the draft comes along. Either way, though, Andrew Cristall is a guy who had a really good amount of point production, and the reason he's able to do this is because he is arguably the best playmaker of this year's draft full send. If you watch Andrew Cristall highlights, the two things that'll stand out to you the most are his combination of skills and his poise. He's got a really good ability for finding guys out there on the ice and looking effortless while doing so. He's got unorthodox footwork that allows him to just pitter-patter and step around guys as if he was a ballerina on the ice by opening up his hips, using some very strange pivots and sculling techniques as well. He's able to just effortlessly prance around players while maintaining the puck as if he's in a phone booth. He does all this to manipulate both teammates and opponents into opening up space for guys that he wants to get the puck to. His teammates will find open space, and with eyes in the back of his head, he's very adept to just throwing the puck over to open areas where his teammates will find it, bury it, and he'll get the primary assist because of it. He also does all of this while looking so calm and so poised. The guy just has a knack for holding onto the puck and creating the best opportunity available, even if you don't see that opportunity there until it's right in front of your eyes. Cristall is arguably the best playmaker when it comes to players in this draft, and all the scouting outlets are going out there and talking about the same thing. MyNHLDraft.com has a few expert testimonies from scouts in the community talking about Cristall. Tony Ferrari of the Hockey News said this: Andrew Cristall may be undersized, but he truly is one of the most talented playmakers in junior hockey already. There are passing lanes that most players would never even see developing, and Cristall has the passing precision to pick them apart. Austin Garrett of Smart Scouting said, Andrew Cristall is a magician with the puck on his stick with his skill, and his ability to thread passes all over the ice is high-end. He's going to make a hard push for top 5 by the end of the year as his puck luck is regressing positively recently, and the points are starting to stack up in bunches. Corey Prodman said, Cristall can make a lot of difficult plays with the puck and do so under pressure. The questions on him, though, surround his size and skating, as he's got a wonky-looking skating stride, and with a guy who is barely 5'10", that's not ideal. So there is some criticism on Cristall and his stride. I'm going to go out there and say that when he has the puck in the offensive zone and he's sort of dancing around guys, you definitely see it's pretty awkward, but it works at the WHL level. We'll just see how that translates to higher levels of play. Scott Wheeler said this, despite his diminutive size, he is also a smart player off the puck, and I've been struck by how often he's in the right position above the puck to hold play inside the offensive zone. I absolutely get why he was named an alternate captain. He is as fun to watch with the puck on his stick as almost anyone in the draft. Dobber Prospects Chris Horvat said this, he is an intelligent and efficient distributor of the puck who thinks the game at a high level. He is a shifty and fluid skater who shows composure with the puck on his stick, and he's able to extend possessions with smart reads as he waits for options to open up. Long story short, Andrew Cristall is just one of the most talented players in the draft when the puck is on his stick. And if you go over to the Smart Scouting Report, written earlier this year in February, the writer Austin Garrett says this about Cristall and his offensive game. What makes Cristall such a dynamic offensive weapon and top offensive prospect in this class are his elite traits: playmaking, puck skills, his vision, his ability to read plays 2 or 3 puck touches before they develop, and his ability to make high-end plays under pressure. What separates Cristall from other players they have watched or tracked in North America is his unique ability to send players to space before a play ever develops. He's consistently leading his forwards into areas of the ice that they may not have been going, or putting pucks into open spaces that allow his other forwards to change their route and find themselves with the puck and with space. While his line mates aren't holding him back, they also aren't top caliber prospects or high-end future picks. He continues to make everyone on the ice look better offensively, and it's a testament to his unselfishness and ability to spring open his teammates. Connor Bedard is the best offensive weapon this draft. Andrew Cristall is this draft's premier playmaker. This is what the projection is written on this article. By the way, link in the description if you want to go ahead and read it yourself. The writer here, Austin Garrett, is very bullish on Andrew Cristall. From the defensive blue line onward, there isn't a player they get more excited to see with the puck in their stick than Cristall. His ability to make his teammates better offensively, combined with his ability to pull off very high-end skilled moves, gives him all the confidence that he's a projectable offensive player in the NHL. To me, if Andrew Cristall pans out to his projection, he could become as good as, let's say, a 70 to 80 point playmaker at the National Hockey League level. He does have a pretty good shooting ability, and he can dangle goaltenders off of their pads. He's also got a pretty nasty backhand, which he's displayed a few times this season too. So with everything coming together, Absolutely, this is a guy that has top-line potential as a playmaker who can create plays and do some very good things, even if he doesn't have the most talented line mates out there. We'll see where he goes in the draft, but if he gets taken anywhere after like 9th or 10th overall, I think he's definitely going to be the best player available. It just really depends on who else goes before him. So, thoughts in the comment section below about Andrew Cristall and the profile he has as a prospect in this year's draft. I hope you enjoyed this British 9, and bye.